Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Mr. Davis did a great job with operant conditioning. Just want to review very quickly. Classical conditioning, like Pavlov, like the easy button, that's reflexive behavior, things you can't control. The reflexes, like salivating, like flinching. We're talking about operant conditioning here, and operant conditioning is about voluntary behavior. So whether or not you can control it, and we're doing it with reinforcements and punishments. Okay, so how do we modify behavior using voluntary behavior using reinforcements and punishments? Now, I want to just quickly review the problem that some of you will have and do have with the difference between positive and negative in the ways that you're used to using it. So when we talk about positive and negative in operant conditioning, we're using the plus sign as addition, like in math. We're using a negative sign like subtraction as in math. So that's not this. What we're seeing right here is something different. So if I introduce something you like that is appetitive, look at the root. We have appetite. So if you have an appetite for it, that means it's appetitive. That's something good. That is chocolate. Now we have something aversive. That is something you don't like. That is something you have an aversion to. So that would be like a punch in the face. Okay. So we're not using positive and negative here. We're using appetitive, meaning something you like, aversive, meaning something that you don't like. Now we're going to get to positive. If we introduce something, if we add something that you like, if I give you a piece of chocolate for something that I like, that is positive reinforcement. That is a behavior, that is what I want to do to modify behavior. Positive reinforcement is so much better than punishment. So you want to reward any type of behavior that you can. In fact, what they will tell teachers sometimes is don't even reward the behavior you see, reward the behavior that you want to see. Don't even just think, even if you don't see it, say thank you for paying attention in class, even if a kid kind of didn't pay attention in class, because then they might do it more. It's crazy how much positive reinforcement works. Okay. So that is presenting an appetitive stimulus, positive reinforcements. If I present something aversive, I punch you in the face, that's punishment. They call it positive punishment. We can just call it punishment. That's pretty basic. Then if I remove something you like, your parents love doing this. Your parents love taking away your phone. I have removed something that you don't like. Or excuse me, I have removed something that you do like in order to make a behavior. Now remember, if I am doing a punishment, this is negative punishment. I am removing something in order to make a behavior less likely. Why do you get your phone taken away? Because you're staying up late. We want you to stop staying up late because you came home late. We want you to stop coming home late because you got bad grades. We want you to stop getting bad grades. So we remove something you like in order to make a behavior less likely. Okay. Now, this is the one that confuses even the best minds. Even Saint Bill Murray will confuse this one. You'll see it in Ghostbusters. In fact, I would argue that that clip we watched or will watch from The Big Bang Theory screws that one up too. People think negative reinforcement is punishment. It's not. Negative reinforcement, if it's reinforcement, it makes a behavior more likely in the future. Okay? So when we're talking about negative reinforcement, what do you think? What can I take away that would make something more likely in the future? Now, let's say, and again, it has to be, I have to take away something aversive. So I take away something you don't like in order to make a behavior more likely in the future. A great example is, let's say you did a good job on your homework, you got all A's, and your parents say, you know what, you don't have to do chores. You don't have to do this. So I take away something you don't like. I remove something that you don't like as a reward. It makes that more likely in the future. That was also the Stewie clip from the Family Guy. Mom, 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 mommy. And what he does is he removes something she doesn't like. Stewie is using negative reinforcement, removing something that his mom doesn't like in order to make that behavior more likely in the future. So in the future, she'll be more likely to say what? That's what kids nagging is negative reinforcement. The last example is one Mr. Davis talked about in the last video, the seatbelt clip. So you get in, it goes ding, 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 ding. You put on your seatbelt, the ding goes away. So you have removed that annoying stimulus in order to reinforce, to make more likely the behavior of the seatbelt being put on. Okay. And we will have practiced this or should have practiced it before. So a spanking, I introduce something you don't like. So that is positive punishment, making a behavior less likely in the future. A timeout in the corner, now we're getting tricky. We're getting tricky. We'll talk about this one in class. But a timeout, am I introducing something or am I removing something? Now, we know we're trying to make a behavior less likely in the future. So we know it is definitely a punishment. We just don't know if it's negative or positive. I would argue that it is negative. You're taking away attention. You're taking away fun. So some people could argue it's positive. I think that's a gray area. I think really the effect is it's negative. I'm taking something away from you, something that you like, which is attention, being loved. Just kidding. Revoking a driver's license. Obviously, already when I know revoked, I've removed it. Simple as that. Driver's license. Is that something you want or don't want? That's something you want. I'm removing something appetitive that is negative punishment. Okay, because I'm trying to make a bit. What did you do to get your driver's license taken away? Drunk driving, speeding, whatever. What I'm doing is I'm trying to make that behavior less likely in the future, so we know it is a punishment. And then a parking ticket. I want to argue this one. I've seen people argue that that is positive. I give you a parking ticket in order to make a behavior less likely. So it is positive punishment. We know it's punishment. We know it's supposed to make a behavior less likely in the future. But I would argue again, I might argue negative. And here's why I would say this. What if you got a parking ticket and the penalty was $0 and it didn't go on your record and nobody cared, but you got a parking ticket? Would that be a punishment? No. It'd be kind of fun to collect them, right? Look at my stack of parking tickets. I don't care. It doesn't cost me a dime, right? So why is a parking ticket aversive? Because it costs you money. And what happens when I give you a parking ticket? It takes away money. I am removing money. So, I mean, I might be confusing the issue a little bit, but I really want you to think deeply about, first of all, am I making the behavior more or less likely? Am I introducing something or removing something? That's really all we need to think about. And I'm not going to give you ones this tough on the test, so you don't need to worry about that one. I just really like to think deeply about this stuff. Okay. And there's old St. Bill. We will watch that, or we'll have watched it coming up soon. Okay, and there's some practice. And then I want to talk about contingencies of reinforcement. How do I make a behavior more likely? How do I make it so that I can create a behavior quickly? And what do? I reinforce it continuously. Every time you do something right, I give you a reward. Every assignment you get an A on, I give you money. And some of you are thinking, boy, that'd be awesome, right? Well, let's say every assignment I give you, you get an A on, you get money. That's a great way to build behavior fast. But let's say I forget a couple of times to give you money. That behavior goes extinct very quickly too. So it builds it up super fast, and that behavior goes extinct really fast. So if I want to build behavior, continuous reinforcement. If I want to maintain behavior, I go to partial schedules of reinforcement. You can also call it intermittent reinforcement. So I don't reward every single time. I reward every other time, or I reward kind of randomly. And in fact, there's a term for it Mr. Davis is going to get to, but random reinforcement is the reinforcement schedule that addicts us to things. It addicts us to video games, it addicts us to gambling, and it addicts us to our phone. And I will tell you, we're all addicted to our phones. I mean, I too, I don't know to what extent I am as well, but I know I am. If I go somewhere without my phone, I feel weird. Why? Because it is a random reinforcement machine, and it has made me addicted to it. And I will tell you, this is not an accident. There are people from Google who are basically left Google. There was a movie about it. Some of you will tell me in class. There's a documentary about it, about how they are building addiction into their devices. And this exactly what Mr. Davis is going to talk to you about in the next video, is how they build addiction into their devices. Take it away, Mr. Davis.